I fail almost every day. When you're an entrepreneur, you're failing. I'm failing constantly. How do I deal with it? By not giving a shit what you think about my failures. Your failures are your failures. The reason everyone struggles with failures is because you actually worry about someone's opinion of your failures. If I lose, I'm playing. You think I care about somebody sitting in the stands watching me play, saying you stink? You stink, you're sitting. I'm playing. I fail all the time. The key is to make them micro failures, not macro failures. See, people don't have that definition down. I micro fail. If I macro failed, I'd be out of business, I would have a job. That's macro failing. I don't macro fail, I don't take those kind of risks, I'm too smart. But micro failing, every day. I hire someone every day that ends up stinking. We have a pitch, we don't win. I post something that should have been great and it didn't. Like, I'm losing all the time. The key for everyone here to get more comfortable with losing is realizing they're valuing people in the stands, judging them on the court. You're playing. You really care what somebody else is telling you about how you're raising your child? Get out of here. As if they don't suck at parenting too. By the way, this is the whole thing right now in America. We're obsessed with telling everybody everything about everything they're doing wrong without realizing how much we're doing wrong. We are in judgment city. We are in finger pointing city. I deal with losing very easy. I just don't care what anybody thinks about my losing. Definitely not people I don't know, and not even my own parents. I want to make them proud. I love them with all my heart. I have no intent of losing, but if you're living, you're losing. And we have to get a lot more comfortable with losing. So much of the depression and anxiety of the youth today is not because of social media, it's because we as parents demonized losing. They're scared to lose. And we have to start cheering for losing. Losing's just part of the game. AI is gonna eat up everything. If you leave, there's a lot of mental things we talked about here. As a practical thing, every person here, actually I'm gonna assume a lot of this crowd has not gone into AI yet. It's new, and I'm generalizing. But by show of hands, how many people here have not played with an AI app or an AI website yet, like really done AI work? Raise your hands if you haven't yet. That's what I figured, so thank you. Please, because a lot of the hands will remember this, you not doing stuff with AI is just like the thing you made fun of your parents for not doing with the internet. This is the internet 1992, it's that big, it's not going away, and it will make your life so much better. When you're in the kitchen saying, hey Alexa, can you order me food for 2 friends, one's lactose intolerant, order now, boom, and that saves you 18 minutes of going to the website or calling or being on your Seamless app or Uber Eats. This is gonna make your life better. Like everything, of course there'll be some things that aren't good. But there aren't some things that are good about everything. Nothing has been, like alcohol has some bad things, right? A car, like everything has bad and good. Please don't do to AI what you've done to everything else. It's gonna be a part of our lives, so it's gonna affect, brother, it's gonna affect everything. When I say everything, everything. So the quicker you get used to it, like the better your life will be. Period, end of story.
Who's your inspiration? Who's your hero?
Thank you, brother. So I've always answered this question the same, and I've just recently figured out how to add to it. So historically, it's always been my parents. They came to this country at 22 years old. I lived in a studio apartment the size of a third of this stage with 7, 8 family members. Like, it was rough. They worked every minute. I watched my mom raise 3 kids solo, doing everything for us. Like, my dad used to wake up before I saw him and got home after I went to sleep, just worked. So there's nobody even within their realm. However, I will say this, brother. Lately I've realized there is a certain other thing that inspires me to no end. So I live in Manhattan, and I take a lot of flights because I travel a lot, and a lot of those flights are day trips. So I actually take a lot, especially in the last 10 years, a lot of 6 a.m. flights. So if you take a 6 a.m. flight, you're kind of leaving the apartment at like 4:30, right? And there's something that's just so obvious to me. When I'm leaving at 4:30, like today would have been a perfect day, when it's like dark and gloomy. And you know, I live in a city and we're going to Newark or JFK or LaGuardia, so I'm driving through the city usually to get to one of the airports. And you know, it's like 4:30 and like you just woke up, and even though I'd like to close my eyes in the car, I'm up. So like, I'm just kind of like looking out the window. This is the scene that I just always, you kind of wipe off the, right? And I'm looking out the window. These humans, this is what gets me to gratitude. The amount of people I see, I'll just paint you the picture. That 52-year-old woman that I see coming out of the subway at 4:55 a.m. with 2 bags in her hand. And I start making up scenarios, brother. I'm like, man, she just lost her husband. I'm serious, this is what I do. This is back to mental training. What I'm training there is gratitude, right? This woman's, it's 4:55 in the morning. She's got 2 bags carrying shit. I'm like, she might have lost her husband recently. She has 3 kids to take care of. This is her 2nd job now. She's doing 6 to 9 before she goes into, you know what I mean? And it's just like, that person, the people out there that grin, like bite their tongue and just put their head down to provide financially and emotionally for their family with all sorts of adversity and don't complain. That person, bro, for me is number 1. No Elon, no Tom, definitely not Tom fucking Brady. No, no like Oprah. No people that are on the gram or TikTok, not me, not those people, like the people that nobody talks about, that are the same way the military and the services and the police, foundational, that get overlooked. These people, these millions of people who just grin it. Everyone right now is thinking about a person like that they know of or was important to their life. The people whose shoulders we stand on in our families, not just in our world. And so I'm so inspired by them, People, when you're young, you're like trying to achieve, you got ambitions, you're looking up to things. One of the reasons I put out the content I put out, my man, is because for all the conversations about Rolexes and Lambos, and like, those are just facades. So many of the people that have 10 million followers on these platforms, I know them. They're not happy like that. They're not content like that. That's the makeup. The people that are just really putting it out there and doing the right things for the people they love at their inconvenience, that inspires me to no end, my man. I'm not impressed that I am good at making money. That was a God-given gift. I'm impressed that I'm nice to people. Please stop fighting technology. Technology is undefeated against your opinions. I understand you have an opinion about AI. Good news. AI doesn't care what your opinion is, Ron. Watch this. I need people to be honest. Lying is the devil. By show of hands, and raise it high, because usually people like to do this on this question. By show of hands, who in here was this person? You had a BlackBerry and you loved it because it had all the buttons and everything. And when the iPhone came out, you said, I'm never getting an iPhone. It doesn't even have the buttons. My BlackBerry is good. And now you have an iPhone. Raise your hand. Hi. Those hands. And by the way, this is a pretty OG crowd. I could go 1 generation back. There were people rolling around the world in the mid-90s with a beeper who said, I'm never getting a cell phone. My beeper's more than, I don't need people to call me anytime they want. Let them beep me and I'll call them back. And the amount of people in this room that said they would never be on social media, and now they spend all their time on Facebook arguing with people. Humans are horrible at this. People said they wouldn't get the car. People said they wouldn't buy a television because the radio was perfect. People will always demonize tomorrow because of fear. Humans are scared. And unfortunately, other humans figure that out and weaponize it against us. And I'm not talking about governments, though they're very good at it. I'm talking about school. I'm talking about school telling you that if you get D's and F's, you're gonna be a loser. Meanwhile, does anybody realize how broken school is in 2023? Does anybody have children here from K to 12? Raise your hands. You know how bad it is, right? We're literally telling kids to memorize stuff and regurgitate it when they have literally the answers on their phone. These kids are chat GPTing the answer to writing papers in 1 minute. And I'm like, good. And school's like, bad. For what? School has broken us. I'm being dead serious on this. And I'm not trying to be mad at school, and don't get confused. I believe that education is the most important thing in the world. I just think it should be relevant to the world we actually live in. And asking our children to spend 12 years of their lives memorizing stuff and then re-spitting it out every 3 months is the most asinine thing I've ever seen in a world of the internet exists with the answers to the question on their phone at all times. These kids are disenchanted because they're smart, not the reverse. So that's just that.